have now as our special guest, Nehemia and Lynell Gordon. Nehemia, hello, how are you?
Hey, Ted, shalom.
Shalom. I know you guys have just been through the ringer this past couple of days since the attack by Hamas. Tell us what you're going through right now, and tell us what's happening today.
You know, every day we remark about something that happened, yesterday or 2 days ago, and it feels like it was a year ago. We're in day 4 of the war, and it really feels like this has been going on for months. It's just so much intensity. Just earlier today, we're talking about going into the bomb shelter, and we thought that was like a week or two ago, and no, it was yesterday. It's been intense. There's never been anything like this that happened to the Jewish people on this scale since the Holocaust.
Right. We've lost more people, more Jews have been killed.
In a single day?
A single day.
Yeah.
Wow.
On Saturday, more Jews were killed in a single day since the Holocaust, since the Holocaust. And people are still processing what's going on. It's still an ongoing developing situation. More people are being killed. They're constantly firing rockets at us. There was a major barrage today.
Just a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
That you asked what I was doing.
Yes.
I'm looking at all the missiles that were coming 6 minutes ago. Huge missile barrage. It's not in Jerusalem where we are, but it is near where people that we know are. And so, we're waiting to see.
Well,
are they still there after?
Well, of course, if you get a warning while we're in this interview, I want you guys just to drop everything and just go.
Oh, we will.
You don't have to tell us.
We will.
So tell us, when you get these warnings, when you get these alarms, how long do you have before the missiles actually start landing above your heads? How long is that?
So from here, it's 90 seconds.
It said 90 seconds, but it wasn't.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it seemed like it was a little bit less.
It was a lot less.
And how do we know how long it was? Well, we hear the booms. We're in the bomb shelter, and we hear boom, boom, boom. And what we're hearing, we hope, is most of the time is the interceptor from the Iron Dome taking out the rocket. Sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes it's the actual rocket falling. Yesterday, a rocket fell and
3 fell near Jerusalem.
Right.
In that barrage.
But one critically injured a 10-year-old boy.
Wow. Well, I also understand that these rockets are trying to also take out Ben Gurion International Airport as well. Have you guys heard anything about that as well?
So my nephew was on vacation in Italy, and he woke up Saturday morning, heard about what was going on, and he decided, I need to get back. And he ended up, and no flights were willing to go. The flight attendant said, we're not going on a plane to Israel. And all the flights were canceled.
Wow.
So he found a flight to Greece. And in Greece, there was this Israeli Air Force pilot who called up some friends and said, can you bring some Hercules transport planes? And they airlifted hundreds of Israelis out of Greece because none of the airlines wanted to fly to Greece. And that's without Hamas even damaging the airport. Hamas definitely has been trying to damage the airport. There's no question about that. They've been trying to, it's really kind of crazy. They've been trying to damage the power station in Ashkelon, which you can see from Gaza, which sends power to Ashkelon. Which sends power to Gaza. The
Right.
Gazans don't make their own electricity. They don't purify their own water. They get that from us. And so they're trying to hit the very power station that gives them power.
Well, I understand now that the IDF has literally tried their best to push all of the Hamas terrorists back into Gaza at this point.
Oh, no, they're not trying to push them into Gaza. They're making sure none of them can get out of Israel.
Gotcha.
That has been one of the priorities, that any terrorist, when the Israeli army finally did arrive, and admittedly they arrived late, one of the objectives was no one gets out. And a lot of them have been
1,500 got in.
Yeah, a lot of them have been captured, some of them alive, and some of them went down in a blaze of bullets.
So what does that do to a person psychologically to have these missiles going over your head and knowing that at any moment there could be the person next to you could actually be a terrorist? What does that do to you guys? How does that feel to know that the person standing next to you could in fact be a terrorist?
So I think it was yesterday, or was it 3 years ago? I don't know. It feels like it was a long time ago. It was yesterday. We were actually doing a video with you, Ted, and I was standing in front of a camera at the promenade. And Lynell, you want to share your experience?
We were surrounded by a lot of people. In my opinion, a lot of people. There were at least 7 who were not Jewish people. And they were, of course, staring at Nehemia the whole time, and me. I mean, were they staring at us because we were doing a video, or were they staring at us because they wanted to do us harm? A few minutes later, another car pulled up next to the one that was sitting there staring at us. And that's when I texted Ted. And Ted, I don't remember what I said to you.
You said, I think we just got to go. We got to go.
I said, it's not safe. We need to leave. If you'd like to talk to Nehemia, we'll get, I literally went and picked up the tripod and put it in the car. Nehemia was down underneath. And I said, I can't take this anymore. I have to leave. I can't. And I don't know. See, I personally relate to a lot that's happening here. My father was killed. He was a missionary. He was killed in front of me. He was shot. Literally died in my arms, bleeding out. So I know a little bit about what these families are going through that are watching the people next to them get killed. They are raping women next to their friends or their husbands, the dead bodies right next to them. This is not a war. This is not an army coming in to conquer a land. These are terrorists set on terrorizing and destroying all the Jewish people that they can find. They're going home to home, throwing grenades in. They are going in to families who have 3 children, killing one of them to get whatever and then eventually they killed them all. But terrorizing them, taking video of it. Right now, I got a text message about 2 hours ago, and this is what it said. The text message said, do not let your children watch TikTok. Uninstall it. Because what they're doing, hang on, I want to read it to you. This is from the ministry of some sort. There's a lot of people that are
sure.
And what they said is, here it is. I had to translate it.
Okay.
You'll have to read it.
What it's saying is they're warning Israelis, you have to uninstall TikTok because Hamas, they're actually in some ways worse than the Nazis. The Nazis actually tried to hide their crimes. These people are bragging about it. They're proud of raping women and then murdering them. They're proud of binding children on their hands and legs and then executing them, murdering them. They're proud of that, and they're sending videos of those things around. And so what this Israeli government warning is, uninstall TikTok because Hamas is going to try to demoralize us by sending out these videos, and your children are going to see those videos.
But the videos are of the hostages being tortured and killed. They do it on their own phones. They take the phone that the person has. They use their own account, wow, and they live broadcast the execution, the rape, the torture of that person. So all the family sees it. And that's what they're doing.
Now, this is not just Israeli captives, but this is also multinational. This is also Americans that have been captured as well. Is that correct, Nehemia?
I mean, there's captives from Thailand. There's captives from Germany, from China. A lot of Americans.
Russia.
There was. I mean, one of the major targets, it turns out, of this attack was this peace concert that was taking place out in the wilderness.
Yes.
And it was right within visual sight of Gaza, and they timed it. They killed 260 people at that. There were 5,000 people there.
Wow.
They killed 260. It really is reminiscent of what the Nazis did when they invaded the Soviet Union. Alongside the Wehrmacht, the army, they sent what were called the Einsatzgruppen, the special units. And their job was to find the Jews and kill them and gun them down. This is before the gas chambers.
Wow.
Eventually they realized, it'd be much more efficient if we could, use gas and things like that. But initially it was with bullets. And they literally are the Einsatzgruppen. They're death squads that went searching for Jews and went door to door, house to house, shooting people. They went to this nature party and killed 260 people. Wounded, we don't know exactly how many, but currently there's nearly 3,000 wounded in Israeli hospitals.
And this is the kinds of things that they do. One of the hostages they took from there, they put a video up. This video is viral, and what it shows is them pulling this young woman out of the back of a Jeep.
Yes. We've seen that here a lot here in the United States.
And okay, so this morning when I got up, we had like 5 minutes to get ready because Nehemia has an ear infection and we needed to go find a doctor.
Yes.
We found a doctor and the doctor said, if you can come on right now, I can see you before my patients start. Nehemia says, okay, we have 5 minutes to get ready. So I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready as fast as I can. And all I can think about is, if we get stopped on this way and we get pulled over, I need to have long pants underneath here. I want my combat boots on so I can run. Because if they're going to rape me, I'm going to make it hard for them. I want as many clothes on as I can have.
So you mentioned the video, but you didn't say the key part. And I know it's hard. What is that?
The woman that they pulled out, she was cut all over her arm. You guys have seen this.
Yes.
She had cuts here.
Not everyone has seen.
They're holding her by her hair, dragging her out. And all you can see is between her legs, on her bottom and on the front, there's just blood everywhere.
That's terrible.
That's what they're doing with women. This is not an army fighting another army. These are terrorists. This is ISIS.
Yes.
That's what this is. And are we fighting on both sides? We are. We're fighting in the north and we're fighting on the south.
And Nehemia, this is not like the Yom Kippur War where there was military combatants fighting on both sides. This is just plain terrorists coming into Israel, raping and destroying and shooting and killing people. Is that correct?
I mean, they were specifically targeting, look, civilians die in war. It's a horrible thing. But they were specifically targeting civilians, committing war crimes, committing crimes against humanity, and then being proud of it. And when I see people in the international community saying, well, Israel deserved this because of the illegal occupation, illegal settlements. By the way, these aren't areas that are even disputed, so calling them illegal settlements is a fantasy. That has nothing to do with the reality of what happened. But when they say that, the very same people who say believe all women and #MeToo, those are now the people who are saying, well, the Jews deserve this. I mean, it's just anybody who supports Hamas and what they did should never be allowed to show their face in the public sphere. They should be ashamed to be involved in civil society.
This is not about free Palestine. This is savagery. This is pure inhumane treatment of people. It is, and it's just because they hate. Just because they hate.
Now
they're not trying to take that land.
Now it's not just in the southern Israel area in the Gaza that could be this stuff could be happening. But guys, tell me about what's happening to the north with Lebanon and Syria and Hezbollah. What's going on with that area right now in the northern section of Israel right now?
So Hezbollah is a Iranian proxy army. Hamas is supported and funded by Iran, but Hezbollah is actually, their people take their orders directly from Iran. They're trained. by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. And they have hundreds of thousands of rockets that they've been storing up for years so that they could flatten Israeli cities. And that might happen. They might flatten Haifa, they might flatten Netanya, they might flatten Nahariya, they might flatten Tiberias. They've been threatening to do that for years, and they're looking for an opportunity to do it. They've sent in small attacks, and one of the things Israel needs to do is to what we call demonstrate a presence. That is, show that we have the capacity to respond to them as a deterrent to hopefully encourage them not to attack us, but they very well may attack us, Hezbollah. I know someone who I'm very close with who was called up to his unit, and his parents just said, look, we may never see you again. We want to drive you up to your unit. And they were going up north to face Hezbollah. And on the way, the boy, who's 29 years old, he said to his parents, look, Mom, you stay here. I'm going to go on with Dad because the area we're entering is too dangerous. I'm getting too close to the border, and I just couldn't. I don't want you to be killed. And he said, Mom, I'm scared. And she said, but in 2014, you were in Gaza in the Tsukaitan operation. And he said, well, yeah, I was young and dumb then. I didn't, I don't want to die. I'm afraid.
Yeah.
But I have to do this because no one else is going to defend these people. I have to.
Yes.
And she called me and she said, Lynell, it's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. She said, I don't know what to do. And she's a very strong person. And I said, look, and I'm sorry, my phone keeps going off, but I can't cut it off, guys, because if there was something to happen,
that's
the
fine.
sirens would go off.
Yeah.
But I said, the only comfort, I can tell you, I've been through tough times. The only comfort I have for you is that our God will comfort your heart.
Amen.
And she said, I wish I knew him the way that you do. And so we prayed that she would know him, that she would feel the comfort of Jehovah in her heart.
Mm-hmm.
And I pray that for all of these parents. Listen, for being in the bomb shelter, the worst thing that's happened in the bomb shelter so far are the stories that our neighbors are telling us. Everybody knows someone that's been brutally murdered. Guys, this is not, we don't have, how many hundreds of millions do we have in the United States?
350 million approximately.
So
Yeah, that's
statistically, right. The amount of people that have been killed, it's enormous.
Yes.
So Israel has a population of 9 or 10 million. So let's say times 30 roughly. So it would be the equivalent if in the US, 30 or 35,000 people were murdered in a single day, in a single attack. That's like I said, we haven't had something on this scale since the Holocaust.
That's extraordinary.
It really
I was on the phone with my sister yesterday. She just called to FaceTime me. My family's kind of they've gotten a little concerned, and I'm on the phone with her, and the sirens go off, and we have to run down to the bomb shelter. So it's not just me that's terrorized here.
Oh no, it goes worldwide, because we never know. Even here in the United States, there's a heightened sense of security even here in the United States, because now people are afraid that things are going to happen in synagogues here in the United States, or in mosques here in the United States. So it's not just Israel, it's worldwide.
I mean, I hate to say this, but this is what's called a proof of concept. And there are jihadists around the world that looked at this and they said, okay, now we know what to do.
Yes.
I can't stop crying. You cry inside the whole time. Even if you're not crying on the outside, you're crying on the inside, because you know that there are hostages right now that are being tortured, and they're not that far. Look, this big attack where they went house to house, that was 40 miles from where we're sitting right now.
Yes.
That's where it was. And the uprising that happened in the Jerusalem areas where they were in conflict with the Arabs there, the
Yes.
Palestinians there,
Yeah.
1.2 miles from where we live, from where we were sitting. It's the only time in the history of the times that I've been here that I have closed every window at night. We've closed the windows. Everything is locked. It's the first time since my sister-in-law lived here. How long has she been here? 30 years.
Well, so my sister,
She locked her door.
yeah, I once went to her house and I got in there early and she wasn't there. I said, is there a key hidden somewhere? She's like, oh, I don't ever lock the door. I don't even know where the key is. Now she locks the door.
Wow.
Today is a different day than it was 4 days ago. 4 days ago, 2:00 in the morning, I could go outside and I could walk. If I just wanted to walk around because I felt like it, I could go walk around at 2:00 in the morning. There are children out in the streets playing by themselves. We're talking kids that are 4, 6, 3. We have a park right behind us. Kids all the time out there. Their parents let them go play right out there. There's no danger. There was no danger. They can't do that now. I wish I could see, it's not about free Palestine. That's not what this is about. Well, this is about total annihilation of Jews.
Well, Lynell and Nehemia, I know the need is great, and it's easy for someone to say, well, tell us, what do you guys need down there? But I'm going to ask, Nehemia, what are the needs there that you can see now? Most people do know now that a Rood Awakening is trying to get funds to the people of Israel just as fast as we can. And you guys are our boots on the ground there to make sure that the monies are actually going to the people who need it instead of into some bureaucrat's pocket or something along those lines.
There is so much need.
And talk to us about the need.
Yesterday, for the first time in my life, I bought tampons. And that's because I went to the supermarket and there were these teenagers with a shopping cart and it said on it, donations for soldiers. I said, what is this? They said all these soldiers were called up to their frontline units and they went without deodorant, without blankets. They just went because we're at war and they're lacking basic needs. And they said, what we're asking people to do is take things out of this cart, put it in your cart, and when you get out of the supermarket, hand it off to the collection stations. So we bought socks, and I bought some shampoo for the first time in over 10 years as well. And not for me, but for some soldier I'll never meet.
Sure.
And the point is, there's all kinds of needs. Lynell has spoken to some, my nieces who are helping some of the displaced people. What are some of the needs, Lynell?
So do you remember my mind just went blank. The farm. It's called a
kibbutz.
The kibbutz that was destroyed where they went and they held people hostage and they burned all the houses. Mm-hmm. Well, they relocated down to another area and my nieces are down there helping and they're saying, they're going to send me a list of things that they need. We have a list of the things that people need. They need, what would you need if your house burned down? Those are the kinds of things they need. Here are other kinds of needs. I just got a text message from people that are a part of the Rood ministry, believe it or not. I'm a lot of friends because I'm part of the Ambassador Club. People are friends with me.
Yes.
They lost their flight for tomorrow. They're not going to be able to get out until the 18th. They don't have anywhere to stay. They don't know where to stay. They don't know whether they should stay in Tel Aviv. Should they stay in Bat Yam? Should they stay in Modi'in? Where should they stay? I'm not panicked. I'm just looking for advice. And I said, let me finish this and I'll call you. There is so much need. There are a lot of physical needs of people. The soldiers who were called up, there's 360,000 reservists.
Yes.
And the reservists that were called up, they left their house without socks, without underwear, without deodorant, those type of personal supplies, toothbrush, toothpaste, and the kind of things that Nehemia is talking about, blankets, all that kind of thing. They have to have for 2 days in a row. That's what we've done is gone and purchased things for people. That's what we've done.
And what we're really actually talking about, though, with I know what you guys are raising money for that we're involved in as well, is for the people who have lost their homes, who have been displaced from the border of Gaza. And those are people who, very similar things. They don't have underwear because what they did is they burned the houses.
They were in their pajamas
to flush the people out from their, they had every house in Jerusalem built after 1990, every apartment has its own bomb shelter room. I don't have that because this building's from 1950, but they have a bomb shelter room, but it wasn't designed for a home invader. And so what they would do is they'd go to the door of that and start burning to literally smoke them out, and then they come out and then they'd rape and murder them. And so the people who survived, they don't have basic things like underwear, like socks, like clothing. Lynell gathered up most of her clothing. She said, why would I put this in a suitcase? We're going back in a week. I'm going to give it to someone who needs it, and I'll get more clothes back in America.
Wow.
So
they need shoes.
They need basic physical needs. And look, there's organizations here on the ground that we're working with that will be able to identify what those specific needs are. Yes. So I don't have to keep buying tampons and socks and blankets. They're going to be in direct contact with, they already are in direct contact with those people. Yehuda Glick and is working on that. And they will, Yehuda said something to me. He said, every single penny that comes in for this is going to go to the people who need it.
And he said that more than once.
And we say that very same thing. Yes, we say the exact same thing here at A Rood Awakening. Michael, a long time ago, had the foresight and knew that this day would come and created the Lydia Project. And so through the Lydia Project and A Rood Awakening, we're ready right now to send funds to Israel, to Nehemia, to Yehuda, and to the organizations there that we trust, that we know are going to get the money on the ground. So, ladies and gentlemen, all you have to do is go to aroodawakening.tv/donate. That's aroodawakening.tv/donate. And you can donate there and know that those funds are going to go directly to the families that need things like shoes, socks, shirts, clothing, housing, medical supplies, all the things that are lacking right now. And we also heard earlier today from the Israel guys, who, by the way, said to say hello to you guys. They're about an hour north of you. And they're saying the exact same thing, that the IDF was called up so quickly that they just didn't have time to collect things, and they just had to go. And so we're going to be helping them as well.
I have one more request.
Yeah, sure.
And I know that a lot of the people that watch the show, including my mother, so I understand. I understand if you don't.
Hey, Mama.
But what we're trying to do is make a big splash with our social media.
Right.
We have chosen, God has given us, I'm just going to say that God has given us great favor on the TikTok platform. He has. And some of the things that we're doing have almost 1 million views. Yes. And what that's done is it has allowed news organizations to contact. I've done 2 interviews on news organizations, and Fox News has reached out to Nehemia.
Right.
If you will help us by liking the videos, even if you don't stay on the platform, if you'll go like those videos, it will help us to get the information out to people who are, like our son called us. Did he talk to you about New York? He's horrified by people that are supporting Hamas. And it's truly because they're just following someone else. They don't recognize the fact this is not about Free Palestine. This is about savage terrorists.
Well,
and you would help us by liking those. And
not just on TikTok, Facebook, Twitter. If you're on some of the other platforms that we don't necessarily post on because we don't have the manpower, repost those videos on,
please repost them.
Whatever those other ones are.
We'll send links out. If you'll repost them, it will make a difference.
And I'll tell you why this is important. There is, the they call it Pallywood. The Palestinian media industrial complex is a really sophisticated thing.
Yeah.
They already have reputable newspapers talking about how Israel bombed Gaza following earlier rocket attacks.
Yes.
This isn't about rocket attacks. This is about shooting and murdering bound children, raping and murdering women, kidnapping 85-year-old grandmothers. That's what this is about.
Wow.
They put out a campaign this morning, it was this morning, that said, and I said to Nehemia, look, they rescued this woman. He said, Lynell.
No, that was fake news. Yeah.
You know, they do things to try to give hope. They really do try to demoralize you. So am I traumatized by the bombs overhead and coming out and seeing what we call the scars in the sky? And I put pictures up of all that on my TikToks if you're interested in seeing that. But that's not what traumatizes me. What traumatizes me are that there are women and children and grandparents being held, being executed on live TV, on live social media. That's traumatizing. That I don't watch. I didn't intentionally watch anything horrible. You cannot help it.
I know. Listen, guys, we're here for you. We want you to know that we're praying for your safety. We're praying for the people of Israel. We love you guys. We thank you so much for everything you're doing, not only for the people around you, but for the entire nation of Israel. We cannot begin to thank you enough. And ladies and gentlemen, once again, now is the time. You must help now. Now is when it's needed. It's going to be needed again in 2 days, in 3 days, in a month. But we need to start giving now so that the monies can go to the people who need it the most, the women, the children, the disenfranchised people that make up the people of the area just around Gaza and all of Israel. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, you can give to roodawakening.tv/donate. That's roodawakening.tv/donate. And we'll get that money to Israel just as quickly as we possibly can. Again, Nehemia and Lynell, thank you so much for being with us today, and stay safe.
Please pray.
Yeah.
Please pray.
Please pray for the soldiers and the kidnapped and the wounded.
Pray for the peace of Israel, guys.
Amen.
Amen.